Let's take you to this now. Secretary General of the EFF, Marshall Dlamini, is expected to address the party's KwaZulu-Natal leadership on how they will move forward with coalitions in the province. This follows the collapse of the party's coalition with the IFP. He's doing the address as we speak. We take you there live.
First of this organization. Because if you understand the founding manifesto of this organization, most of everything that you get confronted with in life, it has been answered by the founding manifesto of this organization. That is why that founding assembly of the EFF resolved that the founding manifesto of the EFF, it will never be amended. It's cast in stone. It's either you are with the founding manifesto of the EFF or you are against it, and once you are against it, you are against this organization, and we should define you as our enemy. Because our founding manifesto, it will never be amended. It remains like that. So all of us, we need to go back and read that founding manifesto, read the 7 non-negotiable cardinal pillars of the organization, so that as you move around and navigate this work that you have been given in the legislatures, in leading the structures in the province and the regions, you know what guides you. You must not be guided by emotions. We can't run this organization through gut feel to say this is how I feel today. We have to run it disciplined fighters and revolutionaries on the founding documents of this organization. You'll never be found wanting. There are others who are found wanting now. And they've been cautioned to say, stick to the founding documents of this organization. It explains to you what is expected of you. Now they are in trouble. Now they are screaming and making all sorts of allegations that the organization is being personal against them and this, but they were told that here are the founding principles of this organization. The situation that we found ourselves in political, it's what the founding assembly of the EFF said and resolved and looked ahead and say, as we go forward, this is going to be the political situation in South Africa. So it's surprising when you see leaders getting shocked on what is currently happening in the country. That's what we dealt with in 2013. This year we're turning 10 years, and that information has been available to you for the last 10 years. But when you are confronted by that situation, today you get shocked. In 2013, we knew that the ruling party, as the time goes, is going to disappear in the eyes of society. And the ruling party is disappearing because they've lost relevance. They've got nothing new to offer to the people of South Africa. So you must not be shocked. You must not be a fanatic when the ANC is disappearing and some clown says to you, no, you're working with the ANC, you want to bring it back to life. That decision we knew it's going to happen in 2013. There's nothing new today. There's nothing new today. We predicted that as the time goes, the levels of unemployment, they're going to skyrocket. The levels of unemployment, they're going to increase in a situation that the ruling party, they can never be able to manage it. They'll fail to manage the issues of unemployment in South Africa. All provinces were sitting with over 50% of South Africans who are supposed to be at work, but today they are not working. And the ruling party, they've tried everything, including the 350. It was their last shot to try to manage unemployment, and unemployment is still rising because they've got no idea on how to deal with the issues of the country. All this we dealt with. We dealt with it. We dealt with the issues of opposition political parties in South Africa, that they don't exist to disagree or to counter the ruling party on the basis of policy and ideology. They exist for peaceful arrangement and whatever that they can benefit, because there's no real opposition in this country. Everything else They are there for their own selfish needs, and they don't even stand for anything else except for short-term gains and personal benefits. So when you see the confusion that is happening in the country, we must know that we are the only organization that must come with an alternative in this country. Because the only policy that is currently ruling this party is a policy that was adopted by the apartheid government of making sure that the economy of this country remains in the hands of the minority. The ANC has never touched or even tried to move the ownership patterns of the economy in this country. That's why our people, they remain excluded in their country of birth. And we are the only organization that wants to change the status quo. We are the only organization that advocates that the means of production of this country, they must be owned by the majority of the people of this country. We are clear about that. So there must never be any confusion. Fighters, it's a year of political education. We need to go back there. We need to conscientize society. It needs to start with us. 2024, it's around the corner. Elections have started now. We are in an election mode. If you think elections are in 2024, you are mistaken. 2024, it's a voting day. Elections are now. It means we must start with our people from today and start preparing this organization today. The planner, through its own diagnosis coming from the CCT, we resolved and we diagnosed and we came back to the reality that since the EFF started contesting elections in 2014, we have been voted by the people that have never been asked or convinced by the EFF to go and register to vote. We have been getting votes from the people of the ANC, the DA, the IFP, and everyone else. We have never embarked on a program where we go and speak to our own people as the early stage of registering them to vote. And the CCT and the plenum resolved that it's a dangerous route because we are relying on going to a battle with the soldiers that we never trained. Because those people that are voting now are people that were voting for other different parties. It means we had no contribution on conscientizing them on the importance of voting in this country. It means we are in a mission where we are running with soldiers that we never trained, and that must come to an end. That is why this year, it's a year of massive voter registration. So as a leader in a region, as a leader in a province, time for dreaming is over. Time for hoping for miracles is over. Now we're going to get back to the basics. As Marxists, we're going to go back to the science. To say that if I'm going to go and contest elections, how many people are going to vote for me and how do I know for sure that these people are going to vote for me? It's because I'm the one who registered them to go and vote in the first place. I'm not going to be a chance taker and hope for miracles that the ANC, they're going to go an extra mile and educate people and take them and conscientize them to go and register to vote and hope that when they enter the voting booth, they're going to vote for EFF. You're going to have to go and find your own people. You're going to have to go and build your own voting block in your own corner, in your own ward, in your own city, in your own street. We are taking it back to the basics. That's what the plenum resolved on. That's what this plenum of KZN is going to take and move forward with. To say, let's go and register our own so that we make sure that they go and vote for us. Registering them, it means we must go and educate them. Registering them, it means we must go and conscientize them. It means we must go and explain in the language and the speed and the pace that they understand the policies of the EFF. You need to be patient with our people. You need to explain things in a speed and a language and a pace that they understand. So it's not going to be a rush job. If you are in a hurry, you must know that you're going to mislead the organization. We don't want that. We've got enough time to go back to our communities and explain the non-negotiable cardinal pillars of this organization. Explain the issues of land. What does the EFF say about land? And it doesn't matter, you can take a week, be patient with them, so that you know that you are building a solid base of this organization that is going to live generations after generations. Because we need to conscientize our people. We need to make sure that our people, they understand the issues that we are dealing with. Because an unconscious society, it's a dangerous society. An unconscious society, even when they are oppressed, because they are not conscious, they end up being the one who defend their own oppression, because there is absence of leaders who are supposed to conscientize them. We can't have that situation. That situation that took place in that municipality called Unge, where a racist white boy is a mayor voted by our own people. That was a sign that our people are not conscious enough, and we must take a blame for that. Because that municipality, over 98% of the people that reside there are black people. But they went decisively to go and vote for a mayor who is white just because he speaks Zulu. Just because he speaks Zulu. Now the propaganda machinery, they are saying this one is a good mayor just because he speaks Zulu. But we know that when the colonizers and the oppressors they were taking over, they weren't sure that they even go and come and expropriate our own languages. So for him to speak Zulu, it doesn't make him be a person who's got interest of black people. Because if it's got interest of black people, the question that we should be asking that this is a boy whose parents are beneficiaries of land theft. He grew up speaking Zulu, esebenza emaplazini. Obaba bethu bembiza ngokuthi unkosana. Omama bethu bembiza ngokuthi ubasi. That's how we learned Zulu. Not because he went to a Zulu school, because he had the interest of the Zulu people in that area where he's leading them. He learned Zulu because it is part of the system that is used by the oppressors, and today we must be misled and say, because he speaks Zulu, he remains an oppressor, he remains a beneficiary of a stolen land. There are many of them here, Ebakulus, Kopongoro. Those racist farmers that are owning our farms, they speak Zulu. If our people are not educated enough, if our people are not conscious enough, they're going to fall into that trap. We need to go back to areas like Umgeni to go and conscientize our people and say, leave this one, because he never went to those schools in Popome and Aufunda Konemakaya, so that we can know that he's got interest. He's a beneficiary of a stolen property. And every time we confront him, even when he speaks Zulu, we must still tell him the truth that you are a beneficiary of a stolen property and you are on the side of our enemies. Until we can get our land back, we don't have friends like you. We need to go and conscientize our people. We need to go back to the ground, because if we are not doing that, our people, they're going to turn against us. We're going to turn against our people, because we're going to start calling them names. And Fanon, it takes us clearly on that issue. He says for the colonized, land is everything. Land is the beginning, land is the end. For those that are colonized, but he conscientized revolutionaries in the journey of decolonization, is saying if we don't decolonize and don't conscientize our people, they might move in the wrong direction, because as things stand, our people in that municipality, their only relation with land, is that it's a place of poverty, it's a place of exploitation, it's a place of death. That's how they relate with land. So when they go and vote racist, and you say, no, our people, what is their relation with the land as they know it now? It's a place for the rest of their lives. It's a place about pain, where they can't go to the grave sites because the white man has decided to fence this place and say these grave sites they no longer belong to you and these families and they don't have access to them. So when they see these farms, they see an area of pain and poverty. That's why it's ready for them to leave and go and stay in informal settlements in the areas that are not developed. We need to go back and conscientize them. It is our responsibilities, fighters, when we embark on the issues of dealing with the issues of land. We need to go and conscientize our people. And we can't do it if we are not grounded amongst them. We can't do it if we are not disciplined. This requires maximum discipline. We need to be disciplined. We need to go back to our branches. We've got over 900 branches that were launched by us here in KZN. We have given you the calendar because now we demand maximum discipline. Here in KZN, there's going from tomorrow, there's going to be 900 PCT meetings sitting at the same time in different areas, different languages, and one message. That's what we want. It's going to be different voices, one message towards 2024. And all that is going to require discipline. RCTs, you're not going to sit as a secretary when you are bored. That's the only time you go to call an RCT. We have given you a schedule. You don't miss that schedule even by 1 minute. When we say RCTs, all of them, they are sitting 5 o'clock. It means here in KZN there's going to be 11 meetings sitting at 5 o'clock on the day that has been issued by the Central Command team without any negotiation. Because we need to build a culture of discipline. We need to build a culture of an organization that from Mhlabuyalingana to Kokstead, we know that it's one organization, it's different voices, but one message and one direction. Can't have an organization that the region of eThekwini, it sits an RCT today, Utuwera they sit tomorrow, that other region sits on any other day. This one when he's drunk, he decides that he's going to go to a WhatsApp group and call a meeting. It can't work like that. We're an organization and we're going to adhere to those disciplines. Because that's the only way we're going to know that we've got an organization and everything else that we have, it's not paperwork. We recruited over 200,000 members here in KZN last year. We need to go back to them. Head count. Fighters of eThekwini, you recruited members here in eThekwini close to 100,000. As from tomorrow, we are going back to those members and we're going to do a head count. We said to you, we are recruiting activists that this year we must prepare them to be the ground forces that are going to take us to victory 2024. We must go and look for all those members and we're going to do a head count. I mean, when you come to conference, you let each other here and do a head count. We're going back to our membership. Head count. All the wards in eThekwini, your requirement was about 500 members per ward. We need to go back and do a head count. If you are still at 480, you don't stop until we have touched all the 500 battalions. Because when we arrive there, we want to see all of them one by one. There is no battle that has been won by papers. We said to you, the last line, the last defense of a revolutionary movement is the masses. Last year we went to recruit them, we must go back to them. We must go back to them and must go and conscientize them. Because if we don't do it, our enemies are going to conscientize them on our behalf. And they're going to tell them everything that is against this organization. Because if we're not going to politicize them about the politics of the EFF, our enemies, they will do it on our behalf. Fighters, we need to go back to the basics. It's going to get rough, it's going to get busy. If you are not prepared to work hard, if you are not prepared to work hard and be available, you must tell us now. Because this year, 2023, we are backing no one. This year, 2023, we want hard workers, they must be in the front. We want the fearless to be in the front. We want the dedicated to be in the front because we are going to the picket lines. And it's going to get rough. Our enemies are reorganizing. The right-wingers, the collaborators, the sellouts are all reorganizing to fight against this organization. We told you that as long as we exist, none of these political parties is friendly to the EFF, and it has been proven. But it's going to need you to be conscious. It's going to need you to be disciplined. It's going to need you to understand the principles of this organization, what makes it work, what becomes a journey towards economic freedom in our lifetime. We need to go back. Our people here in Ethekwini and everywhere else, they are on their own. Our people here in KZN, they are on their own. There is no government. There are no services. Young people now who want to go to the institutions of higher learning, student command, they are on their own. You are not visible. I don't know that you have taken a posture of being the better student command than the other student command, because through this engagement, we have seen a different posture where our enemies, they even go and tell you that no, when as a chairperson of the student command, you know we are better than that one. The way you talk, the way you speak, because our enemies are the ones who are giving you and setting an agenda for you. You must refuse that an enemy must set an agenda for you. You must set your own agenda. You must determine how you're going to fight and defeat your enemies. You set the battlefield, you set the time, and you set even the way of how you're going to attack when it comes to your enemies. You don't negotiate on how you're going to engage on the battlefield. We must not negotiate when it comes to that. So we need the student command to go and take over those gates. When we're saying sizofunda ngenkani, it must mean exactly that. Sizofunda ngenkani. And we must make sure that there is no student here in KZN that has been excluded in the institutions of higher learning. That's what we're saying. But it's going to need leadership. Going to need leadership of regions to get closer to that activity, because they're going to fight back and they are preparing for a fight back. We need a stronger EFF. Members of the PCT, we're going to have zero tolerance of your laziness. Members of the regions, chairpersons and secretaries, I'm being told that some of you are behaving as people who have arrived. You have not arrived. That you are leading delegations that you cannot account for. When we say to you a meeting starts at 9 o'clock, you are still sleeping in hotels because you think you have arrived. Members of the PCT, you have not finished 2 months. Already you are behaving like bosses, taking your own time when you're supposed to be servicing this organization that recently, when you said, I agree to serve this revolutionary movement. But already, you are behaving as someone who has arrived. You have not arrived. We have not arrived. There are those that behave that they have not arrived. And we have asked them to step aside. We have asked them to leave council. We have asked them to leave provincial legislatures. And we have asked them to leave national parliament. And we're going to do it until we get the project that we want. There is no one that is untouchable. Must go and ask them. When the organization was patient with them and said, these are your duties as a fighter, as a leader, they thought they've arrived and they walk like bosses. They thought they are bigger because in their own corners, they were told that no one can touch you. The organization will touch you and you're going to scream like a child. Go and do what is expected of you. If you are a public representative, go and represent our people. You can't be a public representative that when the GTU asks you a simple question, how many questions have you asked to a mayor, or how many meetings that you have attended in a committee, how many community meetings that you have called as a councillor for 6 months, and the answer is zero, and you must sit because you think we are here for friendship and tolerate that nonsense. It won't happen. You are public representatives. We expect you to go and represent our public in their communities. We expect you to go and give a report.
Right, that's Secretary General of the EFF, Marshall Dlamini, there addressing the party's KZN leadership on how the party plans on moving forward with coalitions in the province, and also just a debrief on the party's plenum that happened yesterday. Also setting the tone for the 2024 elections, saying for them preparation starts now. He says the party starting to contest for the party begins now, as strides have also been made in garnering votes for the party. And he says now is the year of what he calls massive voter registration, also tackling a lot of issues that are central to the party's mandate, saying they need to build a party with different voices but one direction.